Welcome you back here to Off the Wall on this Friday edition of the program. Joey Keyran here with you. The show presented by BTB Moving, providing labor services for your moving needs here in Douglas County and around the state of Oregon. Veteran-owned, affordable, dependable, efficient, and careful. They've got senior and veteran discounts available, so book now at 541-315-0122. Maybe you got a college student that's getting ready to head off to wherever. You can book them. Maybe they can give you a hand getting the little ones off as they flutter their wings away. Speaking of which, I feel like I've known him for forever, and it felt like he was off. I was letting one of mine go off to college. Zack Mandera, covered him for quite some time at Roseburg High School, and now is up playing with the Portland State Vikings. It's into his third year already up there at Portland State, but only going to be the second season for him after getting a chance to play as a freshman. They had last season off due to the COVID season, and now back at it for the Vikings. And joining us here on the program to talk more about his college experience, it is Zack Mandera. Zach, my man, how you doing today? Boy, I'm glad to get you on the program here and get to talk and catch up a little bit.
I'm doing good. Thanks for having me, Joey.
Yeah, it's always good to get you on here and get a chance to catch up and find out how life has been treating you. First and foremost, today's poll question was about fantasy football. Are you in any fantasy football leagues? As a college football player, do you have time to be in a fantasy football league?
We actually, just a couple of days ago, a bunch of us guys said, wow, fantasy league's coming up. We didn't even notice it, and so we were like, screw it, let's do a draft.
So you guys got together and sat down and did one?
Yeah, we had some of our linebackers. We did it, and some of the D-line. We pulled together and made a team.
Well, that's good. Glad to see that you can get in there and keep a little bit of the fun side there of football. Not all business for you up there at Portland State. Well, you guys are getting into it. Fall camp underway. You're getting into some preparations. Week 1 of the season, Portland State going to be taking on Hawaii. So I guess you're going to be following this weekend's event, Hawaii taking on UCLA on Saturday. You're going to be following that game pretty closely?
Yeah, we have practice tomorrow morning, and then pretty much have the rest of the day off, and we're going to watch the game. So we'll maybe see if they're doing the same things from last year in the first game this year. So
you guys get to travel to Hawaii, it looks like. You excited about that opportunity to be heading to the island?
Yeah, it's a pretty exciting deal, especially for myself. I've never been to Hawaii, so it'll be exciting for that. We also have a lot of guys from Hawaii, so that'll be really exciting to see that for them.
Yeah.
And it's kind of going downhill slightly. We learned like a couple months ago that we're not going to be able to play in their original stadium, which is a pretty big stadium. And then just recently in the last week, we were told that no fans were allowed. So it'll still be a very exciting trip, but all we're looking forward to is the game. So
yeah, I know that Hawaii, as well as much of the country, dealing with some increases with the COVID stuff, which is really, as we started getting through the summer, things were looking really good. And now as we get ready for school to get started, as well as for our sports to come back with football here in the fall, definitely it's kind of put a damper on some of that. You guys went through a season last year where I remember talking with you about it. You guys had voted that you didn't want to do a spring season, so it was pretty limited on football activity there, it seemed like, for Portland State. The 2020 season, not having it because of the COVID pandemic, what was that like going through that, man?
It was definitely tough. I mean, not playing football for a whole year at this level is just, you're missing out on so much. And so the teams that were able to pull something together, I mean, that definitely benefited them a lot. But, it was tough not being able to play, but just able to focus on school and doing all that stuff was really important as well, too. So, but we were able to get back and do some things, and I think we're finally getting in the swing of normal football.
Yeah. Have you adjusted to the life of college football? I remember talking with you your freshman year and just the adjustment period it was. Have you adjusted to what life is like as a college football player yet?
I think I think my freshman year, it was kind of a big step for me because a lot was thrown at me.
Mm-hmm.
I was thrown into a big role, and I think I've been able to adjust to that and deal with everything, and it's not so overwhelming.
That's good to hear. So fall camp has been going on. I know we had hoped to maybe talk earlier this week on Monday, and things didn't come together. You had some meetings that popped up for you there, which is completely understandable. But you guys were wrapping up another scrimmage there, or a scrimmage there at Portland State. How are things going for you? What's the kind of outlook for Zack Mandera going into this season with the Portland State Vikings? Are you going to be high on the two deep?
So my position, we rotate quite a bit.
Yeah.
And during the spring, we had a little spring ball session. I actually, unfortunately, hurt my back, and so that allowed a couple of guys to get a lot of looks during the spring. But I was able to come back this fall and really compete. But I'm right around twos, so we still have. We're going to do some live stuff tomorrow for the last day before Hawaii, and we'll really kind of see where things look at the beginning of next week. So,
yeah. Well, we hope, obviously, that things work out and you get a chance to see the field a little bit there. I know once you get out there in the competition that, boy, you're always been one of those guys that is always great under the big lights and can really start to turn things on there. And so look forward to getting a chance to watch a little bit of you play. Coming up in some big games, you mentioned the Hawaii game. You guys are also traveling to Pullman to go play against Washington State, a Pac-12 team, and it should be a fun matchup there for you guys to go up against a big team like that. I mean, these non-conference games, Portland State's always kind of one of those teams that gets listed as you guys get to play some of these teams and see some of the big competitions. Is that kind of some of the more exciting parts about the schedule, is seeing what kind of Power 5 teams you guys might get a chance to go play against?
Yeah, I think it's really cool to be able to play in those games, and it's kind of important for us to see how we are as a team going into those games and how we compete. And, I mean, it's really cool being able to go to Hawaii and travel over there and then go to a Pac-12 school. I mean, PSU is pretty well known. We actually do pretty well in those games. So, actually, about 5 years ago, we upset Washington State. So we're excited to go in there and see what happens this year. So
yeah, absolutely, man. I'm looking forward to that. Always good to see the Portland State, especially now we got some rooting interest down here in Douglas County as we talk with Zack Mandera, former Roseburg Indian, now with the Portland State Vikings, getting ready for his second season, official season there with Portland State. How about the team? I know you're on the defensive side, but that means you get to see the offense a lot. What might Big Sky fans, Portland State fans, get to see out of the Vikings coming up this year?
We have a returning veteran quarterback. This is last year, and he really controls the offense really well. And we gave him some good tools to work with. We have a pretty good receiving core. We've had some guys that have transferred from Nebraska and Washington that will do some big things, and we also have a couple line transfers. So hopefully we'll be able to last year we kind of were dominant with the run and not so much with the pass, but I think we'll be able to even it out this year.
Sounds good. What do you think about the Big Sky? Are you guys projected to be one of the teams that competes for a possible championship in the conference?
Just over the last 10 years, PSU has kind of been overlooked, and we've always kind of been in the lower part of the conference, and it's kind of tough being in the Big Sky because the Big Sky always has, I mean, we always have at least 6 teams or so in the playoffs, so it's a hard conference to play in. So we see a lot of good competition all year. So we'll be able to see in these first couple of games on basically how we'll do in the conference. I know the rest of the teams in the conference are looking pretty good right now, and some of them were able to play in a spring season, so they got a little bit of live football before this fall. So we'll see how things look in the first game, and we'll kind of go from there.
How did everybody feel going through that process? I mean, I know you guys kind of decided as a team that you didn't want to try and squeeze in some sort of season during the spring. Did it seem like guys were on board with that process all the way through, or were guys getting maybe a little antsy about it all during the spring as you guys were watching other teams still getting a chance to play, or you guys had been watching teams play during the fall as well? That long of a layoff, did guys get pretty antsy while they were watching other teams play?
I think we had a lot of guys. The older guys were definitely getting antsy, but I think it was probably the best thing for us to just be able to practice and focus on getting better as a team, because we actually, in just one of our first team meetings in fall camp this year, our head coach had all the new guys stand up and say their names and where they're from, and it was about half the room. So about half the team are newcomers, whether it's freshmen or the freshman COVID year guys, because they weren't able to play last year, or guys that have transferred. So I think it was best for us to just be able to focus on us as a team. And I think it's been a really good fall camp, being able to hang out with the new guys and get them comfortable with everything so they can compete in the fall.
What's college life been like, man? I mean, obviously last year, were you guys virtual classes all last year? Were you back down here in Douglas County through a lot of that, or what's been the transition, and what's college life been like for you? Yeah,
during the whole COVID outbreak of last year, I was basically down in Roseburg, but and this last December, we were finally able to come back. So I've been up here since then. And we've been all online with school, and this fall will actually be the first term that we should hopefully have in-person classes. So it'll be a little bit different, because, I mean, for guys in my class and below, they've never completed a year of school with all in-person classes. So it'll be a little bit different.
You looking forward to, though, getting into the classroom and being back in that setting?
Yeah, it's definitely something to look forward to when you've been on the computer for the last year and a half. So you'll be able to focus a little bit more instead of looking at the TV or laying in bed.
Living in Portland, obviously we talked about it. I know when you first were headed up that direction, it's definitely a much different atmosphere and lifestyle up there in Portland than it is here in Roseburg. Big city lights up there. Have you grown accustomed to Portland? You finding your way around? Are you enjoying your time spent up there?
Yeah, it was fun being up here this summer. We were able to kind of learn the city more and be able to go to swimming spots or go out to eat or whatnot. We obviously have a lot more time during the summertime, but it's grown on me. Kind of like the big city, a lot more people around and always something to do.
Yeah. Oh boy, he's getting used to the life in the big city up there. You guys are getting ready to the Portland State Vikings going to take on Hawaii, week 1 of the season coming up September 4th. It'll be a late one as they travel out to the island to take on the Warriors there. Zack Mandera joining us here on the program. So you mentioned that you guys you're getting kind of some physical period still to go and a chance to kind of get evaluated a little bit more, but you guys have game week next week. You've got your opponent playing this weekend, but what's the timeline? What's kind of the future for this next week for you guys? What are you guys doing as you transition into the actual start of the regular season?
So this week we've put in, or at least for the defense, we've put in all of our schemes for Hawaii, and we'll put a lot of that to work tomorrow, and then we'll have Sunday off, and then really next week will just be all Hawaii stuff on what they do, and we'll leave on Thursday to go over to Hawaii and maybe do something fun on Thursday, and then basically Friday is all preparation for the game, and then Saturday's game day, and then we'll come back on Sunday. So it'll be a big week, and it'll be fun to see all the new guys getting their first week of college football in, and it should just be a fun experience.
Last question here for you, Zach. We'll get you going there. You mentioned you battling your way back, a little bit of an injury there a little while ago. You going to be good to go, though, for week 1?
Should be good to go.
That's what we like to hear. Zach Mandera, former Roseburg Indian, now with the Portland State Vikings, getting ready for their season to start September 4th as they take on Hawaii. Zach, I really appreciate the time. It's great to catch up and hear how things are going there for you at Portland State. Look forward to hopefully getting a chance to see a lot of you out there on the field for the Vikings here coming up this year. Good luck to you, man, and we'll check in again here soon.
Thanks for having me on, Jay.
Absolutely. It's Zach Mandera joining us here on the program today.